Well, ladies and gentlemen, yet again, we're getting news that apparently the sale of Casado is imminent. Maybe, potentially, Barcelona are going to sell Casado before the transfer window closes. And, man, I get we're doing this again. We're doing this again. This news came out a while ago as well. Like, a while ago, we've seen reports of Casado potentially leaving, that there were Premier League clubs interested, that there were other clubs interested in selling Casado. And the price tag from then is still the same price tag that I'm seeing right now, which is I think is a disgrace, and I think it shows, if that's the actual price tag that Barcelona are trying to put for a player like Casado, it shows desperation. It shows desperation that we're trying to undervalue our players because we just want to get rid of them as soon as possible, try to get some money in. It's showing desperation, and it's a disgrace that 30 million for Casado is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. But overall, getting rid of Casado and putting him on the market is unacceptable as well. Because the reaction I've seen on Twitter and other social media platforms of potentially selling Casado, I think a lot of people really underappreciate what he did for us last season. Really underappreciate the player that he is. And I'm guessing don't understand that he's still only 21, that he's still a young player, that he's at the age of all these other young talents that we have, like Pedri, Gavi, Fermin. Like, they're all the same ages. So they have way more room for improvement. And Casado last season, from what we've seen for him, his ceiling is high. His ceiling is very high, and he can improve into be a way better player for us. But I guess because a lot of people romanticize Gavi, romanticize other players, they like Frankie De Jong, they prefer them over Casado because Casado just had one great season with us, and these other players have been there for a while now, which I understand because I love those players too. But I'm not going to underappreciate at all or forget about what Casado did for us. And recently, I posted a video with some of my friends talking about the Barcelona 25-26 season, giving our predictions. And in one segment of the video, we talked about the best lineup for Barcelona if everyone is fit. What is the best possible lineup that Barcelona can put up? And when we talked about the midfield, the two are obvious. Frankie and Pedri for now are going to start. Those are going to be the two main guys. And then when it comes to the 10, you can pick and choose Fermin or Olmo, whatever you want to do. But we also discussed if Frankie goes down or Frankie's having a bad couple of games, who's next up. We were, putting names out there like Marc Benal, maybe one day he can come back and show a level. And obviously the other two, which will be Gavi and Casado, because those are the only two that can really replace Gavi. Because one thing's for certain is Pedri's untouchable. He's the only one that's untouchable. No one can do what Pedri does and replace what Pedri does. But on the other side, Frankie De Jong, he could be replaced. And now the question is either Gavi or Casado. We argued, and I said that Casado was second choice, and they argued that Gavi was second choice. Casado, we can't forget what Casado did for us last season.
Bro,
No,
he
never will.
No,
He's
But
amazing.
that's because there's so many people injured.
100.
Now that everyone got
But-
integrated back, now it sucks that Casado's on
Casado
the.
is 21.
He's a third pick.
Frankie is third pick. He's second pick right now.
Casado?
Yeah,
Gavi.
definitely.
He's not over Gavi.
Gavi,
You're
fuck
What
no.
do you
bugging.
mean? Why?
Fuck no.
How is Gavi over Casado?
Because
Bro,
Gavi's Gavi,
what?
bro.
No, of course, that's the fan base. That's great to disagree. But, we had different opinions. Obviously, again, they were romanticizing a little bit of what Gavi was. He did great in preseason. And I'm romanticizing of what Casado did for us last season. And, of course, he did great for us, right? So, it's good to have different opinions, but in my opinion, I think I'm right. I don't know. I think I'm right. I think I'm right. Of course, when you have your own opinion, you think you're right. But I just think for what Casado did for us last season, he is currently above Gavi. Like I think he is. Gavi just came from a prolonged injury where he's getting back into the squad. He got back into the squad last season early on for sure. He had some couple of games where he did impress. He did show he has a spark, but he still needs. I think he still needs time. I still think he needs time. And when we think of the players that Gavi and Casado are, they're different profiles. You can say they're different profiles. I think Casado is definitely playing way better, playing deeper, and Gavi, I would like him, going forward a little bit more. What he once was, like his best positions when he was playing at Barcelona, when he was at his best, was playing, higher up, pressing higher up, attacking higher up. He would always drop as well and collect the ball, go forward. But going forward on the opposition side is his best side or position where you would want him to be, the best areas you would want him to be. Because I've seen Gavi playing the double pivot before, and it's not convincing. It's not convincing, especially when you have two players that aren't the you could say the best defensively, or their main priority or their main thing is in defense, like Pedri and Gavi. Those two don't really they don't really work together in a double pivot. So that's why I would want Gavi, is if he's going to start, he has to play higher up. The best positions we've seen him play is the number 8, the number 10, and that little false winger where that he would play under Xavi, where we would play with 4 midfielders and he would be higher up. But in a double pivot under this system of Hansi Flick, I don't see it. He's played it a couple times last season and it wasn't convincing. Like, he's great on the ball. He can make the half turn and go, but then being that defensive presence is the main thing that you need for a person going to play the double pivot, and he doesn't really have it. Like, Gavi is very rash with his tackling, he's very rash with his defensive decisions, and he can pick up a yellow, he can just foul consistently, and we've seen that. So I don't want him in a double pivot. That's what I would like Casado, and I have Casado over him as of now. But quickly talking about the transfer rumors, let's quickly look at what has been said. So, breaking: Barcelona have made a decision. They will accept offers for Casado if he requests to leave. He knows that he won't get minutes. I don't know how he knows that, though he wants to stay. Interest from Como, Wolves, Betis, potential 30 million offer. First of all, what are these teams? You're telling me these are the only teams interested in Marc Casado? Disrespectful right there. Like, come on, bro. Like, Marc Casado, this is a disrespect to Marc Casado. These are the 3 teams that are interested in him. That is a disgrace. That is a disrespect to the player that Casado is and what he could potentially be. Because no. We've sold players in the past, that have gone to these kind of teams because they didn't really show it at Barcelona. Casado has shown it at Barcelona that he has the potential and has the level to play for Barcelona. So him going to these teams, disrespectful. That's one. He knows that he won't get minutes. How does he know? Who told him that? Who told him that? Did Hansi Flick tell him that? Because I don't know how he knows that he won't get minutes. Because Casado, this other part where it says they'll accept offers if he requests to leave. Casado's already expressed that he wants to stay at Barcelona, that he wants to retire to Barcelona. He loves the club. Obviously, he's shown multiple times that he loves the club. So that's not going to happen on his end. And he still has a contract until 2028. So he still has a couple years left. But this part is confusing to me, that he won't get minutes, that he knows he won't get minutes. I don't know. But unless Hansi Flick told him straight up, you're not gonna get minutes, which I highly doubt he said that. I've not seen a report where Hansi Flick has, where it said that Hansi Flick told Casado, you're not gonna get minutes. Sorry, you gotta leave. So I don't know where that information came from. But we also got news that Barca and Deco would love to keep Casado, who wants to stay. But it's true, Premier League clubs are calling and are prepared to try to convince all parties involved. There is movement. Let's follow, since we know in the final days of the window, anything can happen. Okay. So going back to what I already expressed in the past. Okay. I fucked it up. Here it is.
Don't my nipples.
I already expressed in the past. What the fuck?
Bond
Okay.
on my nipples and call
All right,
me.
shut up. I already expressed in the past that I don't want to sell Casado. When did I make this video? I made this video early in the month. I already expressed that I don't want to sell Casado because I think he is fundamental to the team. I think he still can offer a lot to this team. And of course, if anyone wants to make the argument that we're selling him because of wages or anything, no. It has nothing to do with that. Again, just going back to the sense that Barcelona wants to sell him, they put a price tag of 30 million. It just sounds like desperation to me. Like desperation that the club urgently needs money. That's why we're willing to get rid of him for such a low price, so we can just get the money and then not have to negotiate, not have problems with other teams saying, "Oh no, that's too much," blah blah blah. Because minimum, Marc Casado should go for 50 million. Minimum. That's all I'm saying. Minimum, he should go for 50 million. Zubimendi got sold to Arsenal for, if I'm not mistaken, around 65 million. And Zubimendi, you can definitely say right now he is rated higher than Casado, but I don't think he's clear off of Casado, where Casado will get nowhere near Zubimendi, that he's in another planet compared to Casado. I don't think he's just way above Casado, that Zubimendi is just, worth that price tag over the likes of Casado. They play similar profiles, they play similar positions, they do similar things. And of course, Zubimendi, the main thing that he has over Casado is that first team experience. First team experience with Real Sociedad, and of course with the national team as of recent. Casado has played for the national team and he's done well with the national team. He just hasn't been playing lately because he has suffered an injury during the end of last season. But if Zubimendi is going for that much, I'm telling you, Casado is close. He's close to that much. So that's all I'm saying right there. But yeah, 30 million to me is a disgrace. I don't think we should get anywhere except anywhere near that. If we're going to set something for him, it has to be 50 or above. But at the same time, it's just a matter of Casado, what he offered us last season, stepping in a moment where we didn't have our main starters, where Frankie de Jong, Gavi, Marc Bernal went out with an ACL injury. We were losing the key players, right? And he got the trust from Hansi Flick to step up, and he did exactly that. He stepped up because under Xavi, we saw Casado very minimal. Xavi didn't trust Casado. He didn't see what Casado had, his potential that he had to play for the team and what he could offer the team. Hansi Flick did see it, and boom, he stepped up for us in the major games, in the important, in the first half of the season. He was major for us. He was very key for us to allow Pedri to flow, to have the defensive presence, to have other players, give them other players the ability to go forward and express themselves a little more, because you have that one player who's willing to fight for you, who's willing to defend for you, who's willing to sacrifice his game, not caring about having the glory of going to score goals and all this. He's willing to fight for the team, because the one thing him and Gavi have definitely in common is the passion. They both have the passion for Barcelona. Of course, Casado came from the ranks as well. He loves FC Barcelona. He's shown it. We all remember that one clip where he was in the streets after we won it all, and he was celebrating with the fans. He clearly loves the club. He clearly will die and fight for the club. And he has that passion on the pitch as much as off the pitch. He's shown it multiple times how aggressive he is, how much he'll press for the team, how much he's willing to, even give up a card if he has to for Barcelona to win these games. So, when it comes to him, comparing him and Gavi, I think Gavi's probably technically better than Casado. But when it comes to those line breaking passes, when it comes to the defensive ability, I think Casado is above Gavi. I just think he is, because they're different profiles. Gavi is more attacking, while Casado is more defensive. They're different. So if you're gonna play the double pivot, you can't really have two attacking minded players with Pedri and Gavi, right? That's why I want Gavi a little bit higher. That's why I have Casado over Gavi when it comes to playing that double pivot. If you want to play, if you want to have a conversation of Gavi playing as a number 10, go ahead. Like Gavi, Casado, and Pedri can definitely play in the same midfield, but in a double pivot, I don't see Gavi playing there. I don't want Gavi playing there either. So unless Gavi this season, upcoming season, just improves massively in defensively, and just gets that IQ of how to understand how to play as a deep line midfielder, and just know how to defend better, because that's the main thing, defend. Okay, he'll shut my mouth. Cool, perfect. And then Casado can move as the third choice. But right now, I think Casado is definitely second choice. Now, when it comes to actually selling him, the only way I would have accepted to sell Casado this summer, which is still like difficult to think about, is if Marc Bernal came back and was outstanding for us. Marc Bernal, we saw the potential last season, the beginning of last season, and the preseason of last season, where he did well. He showed potential. He showed that, okay, maybe he has the level to play for Barcelona. The first couple games of the league, he showed that he had a level, and then he went down with the ACL injury, unfortunately. But if he were to come back and show that level, and show that he has the ability to play for Barcelona at the highest level, that he can compete late into the stages of the season and be an important player for us, be that key figure for us, then perfect. Then okay, Casado, unfortunately, you have to be the guy to be sacrificed, because when it comes to ceilings, who has the most potential, Gavi does have a better ceiling than Casado. Frankie, you could say, has a better ceiling, quote unquote, but Frankie is 28. So if I were to sell one of them right now, if I wanted to get rid of them right now, I'd pick Frankie based on age, based on potential, because Casado does have a lot of potential. He does have a lot of potential. He's only 21 years old. Frankie is in his prime ages. Frankie has definitely offered us a lot. He's shown since he joined Barcelona that he has the talent, but he's also showed inconsistencies throughout his time at Barcelona. Of course, you can blame it on a lot of factors, different managers, different players, different systems, of course, and he's been that one guy who's stuck with it. But at the same time, there's definitely moments where you're just questioning him, questioning his ability, sometimes questioning, what he really offers to the team. Last season he was great for us. I'm not gonna deny that, but there's always those lingering question marks when it comes to him. But Casado, he's not perfect either. Like, he's made mistakes last season as well. He wasn't perfect last season. He's definitely had some moments where you're like, what are you doing? But it's a matter of learning, and it's a matter that was his first year actually playing for the first team at the highest level, competing against the best teams. And he did it, and he did well. Unfortunately, last season, he went out with an injury towards the end, where I think he was out for like 3 months. That sucks, but what he offered us was great. He was great. He filled in, and let's not forget he also had some good goal contributions. Like, he's very progressive. I think when it comes to when you compare Frankie and Casado, Casado is way more proactive going forward in terms of making those passes, going up and attack, being on the front foot and attacking, while Frankie is a little bit reserved. He'll control the ball, make some turns, trying to look for the great pass or the right pass. While Casado, he sees it and goes. He sees it, makes the pass. He wants to be proactive, wants to push the team forward as quickly as possible, while Frankie is a little bit reserved. And I'm not saying that's a problem, but I'm just saying that's the differences. And give Casado more experience, more playing time. I'm telling you right now, his potential is sky high. As much as Gavi's, as much as Fermin's, as much as Pedri's, as much as any of these young players that we have on the squad. But again, the only way I'd accept it is if Marc Bernal showed that level, and we're not going to see Marc Bernal for a while. Like, Marc Bernal is definitely a player that I definitely want to see, but we're not going to see him for a while. He just came back from an ACL injury, and we know Flick likes to take his times with these players when they come back from an ACL injury, when they come from a major injury, like he did with Gavi, like he did with Araujo, like we did with Frankie de Jong. They came back from injuries last season, and they were just incorporated slowly, coming in as super subs, towards the second half of the season, and was when they really started to show up a little bit more. He's going to do the same thing with Marc Bernal. He can just put them out there, especially when you already have good midfielders. Like, you don't need to put that kind of pressure and tell them, all right, go play. No, you don't have to, because you have other players that can fill in currently. So he's going to slowly bring him in. And I definitely see the potential with Marc Bernal, but right now he's not showing it. He's not showing it right now. So there's no reason to even get rid of Casado, even thinking of getting rid of Casado. Considering also that we need the depth, because anything can happen. Anything can happen. Frankie de Jong could get injured. Gavi can get injured. Pedri could potentially get injured. Pedri played a lot of games last season. And as much as beautiful, it was great for him to have stepped up last season and finally had a full season. You never know. You never know. So instead of taking that risk, just keep him. Just keep him. We already registered Rashford. We already registered Joan Garcia. We still have to register Rooney. I don't know how we're going to do it, but I don't care. Find a solution. Don't even think about selling Casado Barcelona, please. Casado is a key player for this team. He has the passion. He has the ability to play for Barcelona. And I'm jacking right now that he could definitely take that starter spot later in the future. If Frankie starts showing bone moments, if he's starting showing, he doesn't have it defensively, or he can just offer it throughout a whole season, Casado has to be next up, playing that double pivot. That's just my opinion. But yeah, let me know down in the comments what you guys thought about the video. What do you guys think about this whole situation of selling Marc Casado? Would you guys like to keep Marc Casado, or do you think that he should go, that he should be sold? And give me reasons why. Rather than we just need money. Give me more like sporting reasons rather than we need bread. We have to get rid of him. All right, but yeah, let me know down in the comments below. Make sure to like, subscribe, favorite, hit the notification bell for every time we upload. Share to your friends that love football, and I'll see you guys in the next video whenever that is. Much love, take care, and peace.